Let me guess, the more you want her, the less she wants you. The harder that you try, the further she pulls away. And you've done everything, haven't you? Perfectly planned dates, sincere compliments, all the chores that she normally does around the house, and maybe even a little begging and trying to convince her. And still, nothing. The bedroom feels like a battleground that you've already lost. Now here's the brutal truth most marriage advice really has backwards. Your pursuit, it isn't the solution, it's actually the problem. Not because you're doing something wrong, but because there's like this invisible pattern playing out beneath the surface of everything that can't be seen, right? Something happening in her nervous system that has nothing to do with attraction and everything to do with what most men honestly never even consider. Here is what nobody is telling you. She's not withholding sex to punish you. She's not even doing it consciously. Most men think the problem is the attraction piece or the romance or that she's just lost interest over time. But what if I told you that sex isn't the starting point of intimacy? It's the final expression of something else entirely. So listen up, because right now something in your dynamic is triggering this invisible response. And honestly, it makes desire impossible. Not difficult, impossible. So if you're asking yourself, why doesn't she even want me anymore? That's actually the wrong question. The real question is this: what am I unknowingly doing that's making her system shut down? And what would happen if I stopped? My name is Josh Hudson. I'm a licensed therapist who has found a more effective way to save marriages than traditional therapy. On this channel, I give practical and proven advice how to save a marriage when it's falling apart and the wife wants out, all without compromising who you are. So let's get started. The first part of this is to show you how her sexual response system actually works. There are 3 brain states that control her desire. I'm going to show you why sex isn't the starting point of intimacy. It's the final expression of something else. I'm going to show you this invisible signal that you're sending unknowingly that makes her biologically impossible to want you. And then part 2, I want to go into the 3 intimacy killers. This is what men do wrong. I will lay out the top 3 mistakes men make when trying to restore intimacy. And then lastly, I'm going to show the 4 keys to restoring desire. It's this internal process that removes the hidden pattern killing her attraction. There is one shift that makes her nervous system feel safe and open up again, okay? And then finally, a paradox when mastered gets her to see you completely differently. Now let's look at how female desire actually works. Most of the confusion and pain in restoring intimacy stems from understanding how her sexual response system works. Let's look at it. Okay, she needs emotional safety before physical desire. Let's imagine your wife has a nervous system kind of switch, right? With 3 positions, okay? There is the safe mode. This is green light, means go, right? She's relaxed, she's open. Her body produces oxytocin, so she wants to bond. She'll initiate touch when she's in this mode, and sex just feels natural. Then middle is the yellow. This is the kind of alert mode. She's a little bit more hyper vigilant. She's monitoring. She starts testing you a lot more. She's not in complete apathy and shutdown, but her body's kind of like in standby, seeing what you'll do. She's testing because she still wants you to show up. And then with complete unsafety, red, danger zone. This is when she's withdrawn. Her body, literally the thought of you, actually she sees you as less attractive. I know you look the same, but to a woman, she can see you differently. Touch feels weird to her. She just sees you as a source of pain. So her body thinks, her nervous system, not necessarily her conscious mind, but her nervous system thinks that you're in danger. So there is no desire there. You're more of a source of stress than safety to her, okay? And for you to produce empathy, I want you to think that you are the most extremely stressed you've ever been, right? Just overwhelmed, too much to do, low sleep, no food. Can you get aroused in that moment? And some of you might be like, yeah, I can. You can't, okay? Because your nervous system is in survival mode. Well, that's where she is right now with you, okay? But instead of work stress, you're the stress trigger. Now, I want to talk about 2 types of desire women have. They're spontaneous and responsive desire. Most men have spontaneous desire, right? We're visual creatures. We're simple. We're direct, okay? We're very linear. Where most women have responsive desire. She needs the context first, the story, what's been going on that day. The arousal builds throughout the whole day, the whole life story of your romance, okay? She needs to know that she is valued, she is safe, and you're the man that has been making her safe. So if over the past months or years, you guys have been in this complacent, there's like no romance, there's stress, there's bickering, there's bills, there's nothing there. She's not gonna be, just because she used to hook up with you, but just because you're married, it doesn't mean that she can get turned on like that. Think about romance novels. Women read this whole book to get aroused. The context of the struggle with the guy and like, she can't have him, then she does. With guys, what do? We look at porn, right? We just visual on, right? You have to realize that her desire is completely different than hardwiring. Now there's an invisible signal that you're sending. There's neediness versus desire. Here's the brutal part right now. You think desire looks like neediness to her. I want to show you this framework to really make sense of this. So if we look at the 4 different feelings you have, we'll talk about what she receives and then her response. So when you're coming from abundance, okay, abundance is the idea that you hold your own energy. You need nothing from her. There's no outcome. Okay, there's no need at all. You're not afraid of rejection. She receives desire because it's that desire of wanting but not needing. It's that that paradox of attraction that I talk a lot about on this channel. Her response is attraction. It's closeness. If you come from scarcity of I need you, she feels the neediness and there is repulsion. Okay, we'll expand on this in a second, why that is. If you want to connect from wholeness, there's invitation and then she opens up. But if you're empty, you need the validation, there's pressure. Okay, she feels the pressure. Like you're gonna try to take her and like hold her and never let her go. And we all want autonomy and freedom as people, so she shuts down. So 2 things on this. I know you're literally not on your knees begging for sex, but she is intuitive. Okay, even if you try to initiate with fear, if there's fear behind there, if you're in fear, you're also in taking, which means you're feeling empty. A woman can only be with a man that feels full himself, that wants her, but truly doesn't need her. So when he initiates, even if she rejects him, there is no state crash, which means your emotions don't change at all because you're good. Whether she has sex with you or not, it doesn't matter. Your life is great. It is a cherry on the top. You see what I mean? Now, there are so many things that men can do wrong. So now that you understand how her system works, let's talk about the 3 biggest mistakes that keep her stuck in that danger mode we talked about with the switch. The first mistake is pursuing when she's pulling away. This is the anxious approach. And if you're anxiously attached like a lot of men in the program and your wife is avoidant, okay, she's that classical avoidant, the more she runs away, the more your nervous system, your subconscious mind, your reaction is to pursue. Whether she says not tonight or I'm tired or whatever it is, you take it personally. You get defensive, you try harder, you feel the pressure, and the cycle repeats, okay? She feels the pressure even further as well. And it backfires because every time you pursue when she's in danger mode, you're confirming to her nervous system that you're not reading her signals, that you don't understand her, that you don't see her. You're focused on the need of yourself, not hers. There's a taking energy. I mean, this is why we liken women to cats, right? Because the more you try to chase it and hold it and force it to love you, the more it wants to run away. But if you sit down and you're chilling, you're busy yourself, you're on your computer, guess who's gonna come by and sit on your keyboard, right? Like most cats do. It's the same process. Focus on yourself and she'll come to you. When she says she's not in the mood, she's not rejecting you. She's rejecting who you are in that moment. There is a big distinction there. She's not rejecting you, okay? Don't take things personally. The second mistake is trying to logic her into desire. I mean, you can point out how long it's been, how you can find a study that says, couples, even when they're not in the mood, they should still try to have sex once a week, or a therapist said this, or you find some book for her to read or video, whatever it is. You're trying to rationalize her into desire. It's literally different parts of her brain. And the more you try to use logic into her desire, it's just forcing energy again. It's like walking up to a beautiful woman when you're single and saying, hey, I'm a doctor and I make this much money per year. And look what I do. Look at my car. It comes off as needy and supplicating. We'll talk about the 4 keys of desire next, how to trigger that emotional brain, but just know you cannot use logic to turn her on. Even Esther Perel, brilliant relationship expert she says you cannot negotiate desire. The moment you have to convince someone to want you, you've already lost. I mean, just use some empathy again here. Let's say you were just not turned on, you were tired, you were exhausted, and she's trying to logically convince you. She's saying, well, we should have sex, we should do this, and you never have sex with me, and like, what kind of man are you? You'd be like, what? You'd be pissed off. You wouldn't get turned on either. The third mistake is using the nice guy behavior. So this is using the covert contracts, and I'll just give one example. Let's say, and this is kind of similar to logic, but if she turns you down and you're like, well, you said that you never wanted to go a month without having sex when we first got married, but remember on vacation, you said, when we get home, we'll have sex next week. Are you trying to really use all these things she said, or like all the things that you've done, and I gave you a ring last week, or I took you on this vacation. It's repulsive even when I'm saying it. It comes off as needy and using logic. All right, let's talk about the 4 keys of desire. Now, the first key is removing that neediness or that internal just validation that really results in causing her to feel repulsed and disgusted. You must learn how to feel safe within yourself before you can make her feel safe. This means learning how to validate yourself as a man, okay? To recognize what she really gives you. And the way we're gonna do this is through really understanding what sex actually gives you. Because at the end of the day, what is it? You are connecting with her body, but really at the end of the day, you're seeking an emotion. You're seeking that she's accepting you, that she's loving you, that she's embracing you, and she's connected. You're sensing that sense of like, oh my gosh, there's this empty hole that I have and only she can meet it. When in fact, if you sit with yourself long enough, you were just to breathe, meditate, you were to focus on your own goals, you were to become obsessed with self-love, that your relationship with yourself, with God, is the most important thing. And she is a natural byproduct of connection when you're already full of yourself. When you can get to that place, that's when you're like, you take her off that pedestal. Yes, you love her, you want her, but there is no need. And the best way to really grasp this concept is to set up a call with our team, because I've spent personally over a decade, and I struggled with this so much, and so many men are on the same path as you. When you can go into the program and you could see exactly what we teach in this framework, how to overcome these neediness. When you go into the program and you can see with all our exercises and videos and the community, how you overcome this neediness, it is the fastest way to fast track your results, to get rid of that, to step into full desire with her. To do that, simply click the link down below and set up a free call with our strategy experts. The second key is extreme ownership. Now, let me start with a quote. God grant me the serenity to accept the things that I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And start asking, what kind of man do I need to become in order to get what I want? It's good to focus on what you want, but the better question is to say, who do I have to become? What have I not been doing that's preventing me from getting her to want me? Because you were that man at one point, weren't you? But you lost a lot of that. I know a lot of men, for example, they will have these hobbies and they'll be surrounded with friends and they'll focus on passions and projects and they live a full life despite their wife being in it or not. But they stop setting goals. They let themselves go physically. It's like a slow decay over years because nothing's really pushed you to become this ultimate man. But now you're at a point where you're on a lower echelon than where you were. Maybe not financially in your career, but spiritually, but through your habits, through your psychological understanding of yourself, through your emotions, you have let off a little. And when you can own that and then choose a higher reason why you want to step up as a man, independent of her, that is another major key of desire, that she can see you from a distance and say, wow, he is a full man. A lot of guys will say it's her libido, it's her going through menopause or whatever it is. And when you put the belief outside of yourself for why you can't change something, you feel powerless. And therefore you will do nothing in your own power to change things. When you take extreme ownership, you trigger her emotional safety because she sees a man who can lead, who doesn't crumble, who takes responsibility. And that's what her nervous system really needs to feel safe with you again. Now, the third key is the Stockdale paradox. This is having high certainty and low speed. Let me show you this quote. You must never confuse faith that you will prevail in the end with the discipline to confront the brutal facts of your current reality. That was from James Stockdale himself. Now, here's the paradox. You want her to desire you quickly, but that urgency is killing her desire. I'm just going to give you a quick analogy. Think of the act of actual sex. Let's look at two extremes to prove the example. First, let's look at a guy who has high urgency and so much low certainty that his wife wants to sleep with him. What's that going to result as? It's going to be pretty fast, isn't it? And it's going to not be fun. He's going to be focused on himself. He's going to be nervous. It's not going to lead to a good sexual experience. But here's this other guy. He is so certain that his wife wants him. He just feels it in his bones. Of course she does. And he's not in a rush to get there. That is one of the best love makers that you can ever have in that mindset. Go ahead and ask so many women to take your time, to not rush things, and have so much confidence in the bedroom. So if that's the way to make good love, why wouldn't you hold that mindset within yourself every single day with who you are as a man and actually getting her back? So the mindset here is, I know we're going to restore intimacy. I am certain of it, but I'm not in a rush to get there. Her timeline doesn't threaten me because I am secure in myself. Imagine that you can embody that belief into who you are as a man and bring it down here. At the end of this video, I'm going to show you another one, by the way, on the 5 stages and how to progress through those 5 stages to really master that mindset a lot faster along those stages. So stay for that. Now, this last key is how to pass her test. Ultimately, even if you've made all these changes and you are the man again, she has to know that you're legitimate. It's like you rebuilt this house of who you are. On the outside, it looks good, but she has to stress test it. David Data wrote a book called The Way of the Superior Man. He says, she tests you to see if you're a really strong, confident man that you say you are. Look, here's the thing. If you can react, get upset, feel hurt by her words, little things she says to you, how can she trust that you can protect her from the outside? Whether you think you can or you can't, that is her test. She's perfected it over thousands of years. Because the man who does crumble under her opinion, she doesn't want that man. The man who is unsure of himself, just not confident, because you have this idea that she's just going to complete you. And a woman doesn't want to be that puzzle piece. She wants to be an add-on. Just know that her tests, the purpose of them, are an unconscious reaction to see if you're the man that you're presenting or if you're just performing. Confidence is easy to fake. She has to know it's legit. I mean, there's so many ways she can test you. She may say, I'm never going to have sex with you ever again. She'll say, make the changes for the next woman, or why would you say that? Or yeah, we're going to have sex sometime, but I still want to divorce you. We've heard it all before. It's imperative you know how to pass these tests. So here's the testing video. Here's the stages video. Thank you for watching. Set up a call with our team down below if you need additional help. It's a free call. Just make sure you're fully committed, and I'll see you in the next video.